Never be free until you stop trying to finish stories that ended without a goodbye. If you think about them every day, this might shock you. Hey folks, picture this. You're sitting in a quiet room, trying to focus on your day, and then boom. Their face crashes into your thoughts like a ghost slamming the door open. No text, no call, no message, but somehow they walk through your mind like they still pay rent there. It's like having a song stuck in your head, only this one's not catchy, it's haunting. And every time you try to forget, something pulls you back. A smell, a sound, a memory dressed like nostalgia, but soaked in confusion. My friends, let me ask you, what if this isn't love? What if this daily obsession isn't destiny, fate, or some cosmic connection? What if it's just your brain stuck on repeat because it never got closure? You see, the mind doesn't like open endings. It's sometimes it's just mental residue, sometimes it's emotional noise that hasn't been filtered out, and sometimes it's the echo of self-abandonment, your mind telling you it misses the version of you that you gave away too quickly. And yes, rising out of this loop is hard. You'll try to distract yourself. You'll try to block them, unfollow them, meditate, journal, scream into pillows, but the thoughts come back. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're failing. That means your mind is detoxing. Healing isn't clean. It's messy. It's relapse and revelation. But every time you choose to observe the thought instead of becoming it, you win. You regain an inch of space inside your own mind. Because here's the Stoic truth they don't teach in movies. Love is not obsession. Real love is action, clarity, consistency. Obsession is the mind enslaved. And you were not born to be a prisoner of thoughts. You were born to command them. The mind is a servant, not a master. So let's shift this. Right now, I want you to declare war on this thought loop. Write this in the comments. I break the loop. Let the world see it. Let your past self see it. Let your future self remember it. That you didn't stay stuck. That you didn't keep romanticizing pain. That you chose healing even when it hurt. Say it with me. I break the loop. Write it. Believe it. Live it. Stay grounded. Stay stoic. Stay you. Number 2. The mind is a prison when you don't guard the door. You don't control what enters your mind, but you damn well control what stays. Let that sink in for a moment, because if you're waking up every morning and their face is the first thing you see in your mind, not your bed, it's time we stop calling it fate. It's not a spiritual sign. It's a lack of mental discipline. It's your brain, left unguarded, turning into a broken museum of memories, and somehow they've become the main exhibit. Let's talk straight, my friends. Imagine your mind like a castle. Now picture this. The gates are wide open, no guards, no watchmen, just echoes and shadows roaming the halls. And who walks in? The person who left, the one who didn't call, the one who stopped choosing you. They're not physically here, yet they walk your inner world like they built it. But here's the thing, they didn't. You did. You built your mind, brick by brick. So why are you letting ghosts wear the crown? You see, the average person has around 60,000 thoughts a day, but when one person keeps showing up in every corner of that number, that's not thinking anymore. That's spiraling. That's obsession disguised as love. That's attention without boundaries. And attention, folks, is energy. You're not just thinking about them, you're feeding them. Every single thought is another piece of your power handed away like it costs you nothing. But it does. It costs you clarity. It costs you joy. It costs you peace. Now you might be saying, but I can't help it. The thoughts just come. And you're right, the first thought you can't control. That's the intruder. But what you do next, that's on you. That's where you either become a slave or a sentinel. The Stoics didn't teach people to become emotionless. They taught people to become unshakable, to guard the door of their minds like warriors, to let only truth and value take up space in their mental kingdom. Let's get even more real. Do you remember those horror movies where the villain keeps coming back no matter how many times they're killed? That's what happens when you don't guard your mental space. Every time you revisit a memory of them, how they laughed, how they touched you, how it used to feel, you're reviving a ghost, giving CPR to pain. You're not healing, you're rehearsing heartbreak. And the reason this keeps happening isn't because you're weak, it's because you've mistaken thought for truth. You've believed the lie that if someone's in your mind constantly, they must matter. But that's not true. Repetition doesn't equal relevance. A lie told 1,000 times doesn't become the truth. And a person remembered 1,000 times doesn't become right for you. Here's what's really going on. When someone exits your life without explanation or resolution, they leave a wound, and your mind, which is addicted to solving problems, keeps poking that wound, trying to fix it. It thinks, if I just replay the last text, the last conversation, the last night we spoke, I'll find the missing piece. But the piece is gone. They took it. Or maybe it was never yours to begin with. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about the quality of your thoughts lately. Are they building you, or are they breaking you silently, thought by thought? Day by day. You can't build a future while living in mental ruins. You can't find peace in a mind cluttered with yesterday's noise. So what's the solution? You have to start becoming ruthless with your attention. When the thought of them enters, don't fight it, don't feed it. Redirect it. Replace it with purpose. Replace it with breath. Replace it with anything that reminds you you're here now and they're not. And yeah, this isn't easy. It feels like swimming upstream, like trying to walk away from a warm fire in the middle of winter. But you have to remember, comfort is not the same as care. Just because the thought feels familiar doesn't mean it's safe. Just because they once brought light doesn't mean they didn't also burn you. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace like it's treasure. Because it is. Peace is expensive, and right now your mind is in debt, paying emotional interest on memories that no longer serve your growth. So here's your moment. Draw the line. Guard the door. From this moment forward, you are the gatekeeper of your thoughts. No one gets in without permission. Not her, not the memory, not the guilt, not the regret. You get to decide what stays and what goes. Right now, I want you to write this in the comments. I guard my mind. Say it like you mean it. Say it for the version of you who's tired of being haunted. Say it for the part of you that knows you deserve better than mental loops and emotional visitors with no intention of staying. Hit that like button if this truth is hitting hard. Subscribe if you're ready to build a fortress out of the rubble they left behind. Because what comes next is going to show you exactly why the version of you you're chasing was never theirs to begin with. You're not a haunted house, you're a temple. Act like it. Say it loud. I guard my mind. Say it proud. Say it for you. Stay grounded. Stay stoic. Stay you. Number 3. What you miss might not be them, but who you were with them. Sometimes we miss the memories, not the person. Sometimes we miss who we were, not who they were. Let that line punch you in the chest, because it's where most people get trapped without even realizing it. You don't think about them every day because they were perfect. You think about them every day because you were different when they were around. Or at least you felt different, more alive, more wanted, more real. But here's the thing. That version of you didn't come from them. It came from you. They didn't create that person. You unlocked that version of yourself in response to how they made you feel. And now that they're gone, you're not really mourning the loss of them. You're grieving the loss of you. Think about it. Remember the way you smiled more, the way your chest felt lighter just from a single text, the way your energy changed just knowing someone out there chose you. That feeling made you feel powerful. It's not them that you're chasing. It's that version of you, the one who didn't second guess, the one who didn't feel like a burden, the one who felt seen and enough. And now, every time they flash through your mind, it feels like you're chasing them. But in reality, you're chasing the version of yourself that you liked better when they were in your life. Let's break the illusion for a second. You might say, but they brought out the best in me. No, my friend, they reflected it. You brought out the best in you. They just gave you a mirror. But you mistook the mirror for the source. And that's where the pain lives. That's where you handed over power you never needed to give. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because real transformation isn't about holding on to what made you feel good. It's about letting go of what you thought you needed to feel whole. And that includes people. Even the ones who made you feel like the sun shone a little brighter when they smiled at you. This is where it gets heavy. You may not be in love with them. You might just be in love with the feeling of being loved, with the feeling of being wanted. And that's okay to admit. It's okay to say, I miss feeling like that. What's not okay is convincing yourself you'll never feel that way again unless it's through them. That's a lie your loneliness tells you when you forget your own light. Here's a truth you need to hear, even if it stings. You don't need someone to activate the best version of you. You need someone who honors it. But before anyone can honor it, you have to stop burying it in the ashes of a past that no longer exists. That version of you, it's still there, waiting, beneath the rumination, beneath the heartbreak, beneath the overanalyzing and midnight what-ifs. It's still there, bruised maybe, but not broken. But you'll never reach it if you keep treating them like the missing puzzle piece, because they weren't the missing piece. They were the temporary spark. And now it's time for you to become the fire. The reason this is so difficult, the reason you keep thinking about them every day, is because your mind wants to return to safety. And safety, to the brain, isn't always healthy. It's just familiar. They were your emotional safety blanket. They made the noise in your head quiet for a while. And now that they're gone, your thoughts scream louder. But that's not proof they're the one. That's just proof you haven't built inner peace without them yet. The goal here isn't to forget them. The goal is to reclaim yourself, to realize that you were always the magic. They were just a chapter, not the whole story. And now that chapter is over. But the character, you, still has a book to write, one that doesn't end with you stuck in someone else's shadow. So what do you actually miss? Ask yourself, do you miss them, or do you miss the way you felt? Do you miss being seen, held, desired? Then start doing the inner work that makes you feel those things again without depending on another soul to supply them. Because here's the harsh truth wrapped in freedom. If someone else was the only reason you felt worthy, then your worth was never truly yours. And that ends now. You don't need their validation to feel beautiful. You don't need their texts to feel important. You don't need their presence to feel alive. You just need to remember what parts of you lit up back then and light them up again on your own. Right now, I want you to write this in the comments. I reclaim who I was. Not for them, not to prove a point, but because that version of you, the glowing, laughing, fully alive you, is still there. You just stopped listening. You buried them under the weight of someone else's silence. But silence isn't the end. It's the space where rebirth begins. So light the match, burn the illusion, and meet yourself again. Write it below. I reclaim who I was. Not later, not someday. Right now. Stay grounded, stay stoic, stay you. Number 4, you're not thinking of them, you're thinking through them. You don't miss the person, you miss the parts of yourself they made easier to see. Let's strip it down. Every time they cross your mind, it feels like it's about them. Their laugh, their voice, the way they looked at you like you were made of something more. But let's be brutally honest for a second. You're not actually thinking about them. You're thinking through them. They've become the lens your mind looks through to process everything you're still trying to understand about you. They are not the main character anymore. You are. They're just the symbol, a placeholder your subconscious is using to revisit all the parts of yourself you haven't fully accepted, understood, or healed. Your thoughts of them are like emotional GPS coordinates, always taking you back to the place where something inside you still feels unresolved. But here's the twist. They are not the destination. They're just the detour your pain keeps taking. Think about this. If you really sat with those thoughts, peeled back the layers, asked yourself, what am I really feeling when I think about them? You'd realize it's rarely about them specifically. It's about abandonment, about rejection, about feeling not enough. It's about how you felt when they left, or how you felt when they were around. It's about fear. It's about guilt. It's about needing to feel chosen, seen, whole. Let me put it this way. Imagine your emotions are a crowded stage, and they're just the spotlight, but the actors, the ones performing, those are your insecurities, your regrets, your unmet desires, your unspoken needs, and all that attention you give to them is really just a way to avoid facing what those actors are screaming behind the scenes. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So if your thoughts are always drenched in someone else's shadow, ask yourself, what color has your soul become lately? Are you carrying their absence like a scar you press on just to feel something? Or are you using their memory as a mirror for your inner healing? It's easier to focus on them than to focus on you. That's the brutal truth. Because if it's about them, then it's about something you can't control. And if you can't control it, you're off the hook. You don't have to change anything. You just wait, hope, obsess, wonder. But if you admit it's actually about you, now you're responsible. Now you have to do the work. That's why your mind keeps going back there, because it's safer than facing yourself, safer than asking, why do I still need their approval to feel valuable? Safer than digging into the fear that maybe you gave too much and they gave too little, and now you don't know who you are without the dynamic. But folks, here's where things shift. The moment you stop thinking about them like they're the answer and start realizing they were just the question, that's when the power comes back to you. You're not thinking about them. You're trying to decode a message about you, about your past, about what you still need to feel free, about the parts of yourself you've ignored while staring at their shadow. Let me ask you this. If someone new walked into your life today and treated you exactly the way they did, would you stay? Or is it only the memory version of them you've idealized in your head that you're still loyal to? Because memories lie, nostalgia edits the truth. And your mind is not a historian, it's a storyteller. And sometimes the story is one you keep rewriting, so it hurts less. You think you're in love, but more often than not, you're in loop. A loop of emotions, meanings, moments that are no longer real. And the only way out isn't to chase a better ending. It's to stop looking for one in a story that was never yours to finish. Let's be real. The pain is real. The missing is real. The longing, that hits deep. But what it's really calling for isn't reconciliation. It's recognition. It's your soul begging you to stop outsourcing your identity to a memory, to stop assigning your worth to someone who walked away, to stop defining your now by someone who belongs to your past. Because if you were honest, brutally honest, you'd admit it. You don't want them back. You want you back. The version of you that wasn't tired, the one that didn't question their value, the one who didn't shrink just to be chosen. So take a deep breath, not for them, for you, because every thought of them is just a breadcrumb leading back to the parts of you still waiting to be reclaimed. Follow that trail, not to their door, but to your own mirror, because that's where the healing begins. Write this in the comments. I see the truth now. Say it out loud, mean it. Not because it feels good, but because it is good. And it's time to live in truth, not in the echo of someone who's already moved on. You're not thinking about them, you're thinking through them. And now you get to choose what to do with everything that comes up next. Stay grounded, stay stoic, stay you. Number 5, why they're not thinking about you like you think about them. Unreturned thoughts are not a sign of destiny. They're a sign you're the only one still holding the thread. Let's tear the bandage off, clean and fast. You've been thinking about them every single day. Morning coffee, late-night drives, in-between conversations, even in the quiet moments when no one's watching, you drift back to them. But here's the sharp truth. They're not thinking about you the same way. And I know that stings. But sometimes it's the sting that wakes us up. Your mind creates a narrative that if someone is that present in your thoughts, they must be feeling something too, that they're just better at hiding it, that maybe they'll come around. That silence means struggle. But most of the time, silence just means distance, detachment, moving on, and you're left writing chapters in a book they stopped reading long ago. It's not personal, even if it feels like the deepest betrayal. It's not always cruel, it's just how human minds work. We grieve differently, we forget differently, and while you're over there checking signs, counting dreams, replaying memories like a detective searching for hidden clues, they might not even remember what day it was that they stopped thinking about you. Imagine this for a second. You're on a treadmill. No matter how fast you run, you're not moving forward. That's what mental obsession is. You're burning energy, exhausting yourself emotionally, but going nowhere because the other person has stepped off the treadmill completely, and you're still sprinting, hoping they'll jump back on. But they won't, because their story has turned a page. And here you are, stuck rereading the same paragraph. It's hard to hear, I know. The mind doesn't want to accept it. Because if they're not thinking about you, then everything you're feeling starts to feel one-sided. And what's more painful than realizing that the emotional weight you've been carrying so deeply might not even exist in their world anymore? But let's go deeper. Why does that hurt so much? Because your brain was wired for connection. You felt something real. And when you feel something that shakes you, it's hard to believe it didn't shake them too. You tell yourself, there's no way they didn't feel this. And maybe they did. But feelings are not commitments, and emotions alone don't guarantee someone stays. The mind loves symmetry. It craves balance. It wants what you feel to be mirrored. That's why it keeps searching, looping, overanalyzing. But love, especially unreturned love, is not symmetrical. It's messy, uneven. Sometimes it's just you, standing in a storm the other person has already walked out of. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." What's happening to you is not their absence. It's your reaction to the absence. It's the meaning you've built around the silence. It's the hope that's turned into a habit. That's the punch in the gut. Your hope isn't hope anymore. It's a coping mechanism. It's how you keep them alive in your world, even when they've stopped looking back. You rehearse the pain because the pain is familiar, and familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. That's the trap. But my friend, the fact that they're not thinking of you doesn't make your emotions invalid. It doesn't mean you were foolish to care. It just means their chapter ended before yours did. And now it's time to close the gap. Not by making them remember you, but by remembering yourself. You don't need to be remembered by someone else to matter. You don't need to be on their mind to prove your worth. Your value is not confirmed by their attention. It's confirmed by your decision to stop begging for mental space in someone else's life and start owning the one in your own. Here's the test of your healing. Can you live with the truth that they're not thinking about you and still choose peace anyway? Because real strength isn't getting them back. Real strength is getting you back. Real strength is not needing mutual thoughts to validate your pain. It's feeling the ache of it and still choosing to let go. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just human. A human who loved deeply. And now you have to learn to heal deeply. That means letting go of the fantasy that they're holding on to. That somewhere, somehow, you still matter to them in the same way. Because clinging to that illusion only prolongs the wound. Let them go. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with truth. The truth that they may not be thinking of you, and that's okay. Because now, it's your time to start thinking of you. Right now, I want you to write this in the comments. I matter, even in silence. Let that be your turning point. Let that be the moment you stop chasing thoughts that aren't being returned. Because you're not meant to live in mental chains. You're meant to live free. Free from obsession. Free from illusion. Free from the need to be remembered in order to feel real. You're already real. You're already enough. And no one's silence can ever take that away. So let the silence be what it is. Let it sit. Let it echo. But don't let it control you. Say it loud. I matter, even in silence. Stay grounded. Stay stoic. Stay you. Number 6. Repetition rewires the brain in the worst way. Neurons that fire together wire together. That's not just science. That's your heartbreak speaking a language your mind doesn't even realize it's fluent in. Because the more you think of them, the more your brain remembers how to think of them, not just emotionally, but biologically. You're not trapped by love, you're trapped by habit. Let's break it down, folks. Every time you replay that moment, the one where they smiled at you, touched your hand, looked at you like you were the only person on earth, your brain releases chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, little feel-good molecules. It doesn't know they're gone. It just knows the memory feels warm. And your brain, being the clever trickster it is, starts to say, let's go back there. Let's feel that again. So it serves the thought again and again, until thinking of them becomes as automatic as breathing. You're not weak for remembering. You're wired to. You're designed to hold on to things that once made you feel safe, whole, important. But here's the dark side of that design. Your brain doesn't care if it's killing your peace. It just cares about familiarity. It's like a scratched record, skipping over the same melody because the groove is already dug too deep to play anything new. And every time you revisit that memory, scrolling through old photos, rereading old messages, daydreaming about what could have been, you're carving that groove even deeper. You're not just reminiscing, you're reinforcing. You're training your brain to keep associating your worth, your joy, your identity with someone who's no longer here. It's like watering a dead plant and expecting it to bloom. You're not nurturing anything real. You're just staying stuck in the same season, hoping winter will turn to spring without doing any of the work. Now I know what some of you are thinking, but I can't help it. The thoughts just come, and that's valid. You don't choose the first thought. That one is automatic, but you do choose what happens next. Do you feed it, or do you observe it? Do you turn it into a movie marathon in your head, or do you quietly say, "Not today," and redirect your attention? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." So ask yourself, what color is your soul becoming after all this repetition? If your thoughts are soaked in memory, in longing, in regret, then that's the energy you're wearing every day. No wonder you feel exhausted. You're dressing your spirit in yesterday's wounds and expecting to walk confidently into tomorrow. Repetition is power. But power used in the wrong direction is destruction. You are literally shaping your identity around a person who has already left the building. They're not in your life anymore, but they still control your playlist, your morning mood, your sleep cycle. That's not love, that's emotional programming. And let's be honest, it's not even them anymore. It's a version of them your brain has idealized. You've airbrushed their flaws, edited their silence, romanticized the pain. You're not addicted to who they are now. You're addicted to who they were in your best memory of them. And you're trying to re-experience that high in a reality where they no longer exist the way they once did. Here's the psychological truth. The brain doesn't care if something's true. It cares if it's repeated. That's how marketing works. That's how belief systems work. That's how trauma works. Say something enough times, "I miss them, I need them, I can't move on." And your brain builds a shrine to it. Suddenly, it becomes your identity, your truth, your operating system. But what if you could rewire that? What if instead of saying, "I miss them," you started saying, "I miss my peace"? What if instead of replaying old texts, you started replaying moments when you stood strong, chose yourself, kept going when everything said stop? What if you practiced that every day until that became the loop? Because here's the good news. The same way repetition wired your pain, repetition can rebuild your power. You just have to choose different thoughts, not once, not twice, but every day, until the new groove is deeper than the old one. Let's stop romanticizing overthinking and start romanticizing peace. Let's stop looping heartbreak and start looping healing. Because repetition is not your enemy, it's your tool. And it's time you learned how to use it like a warrior, not a prisoner. Right now, I want you to write this in the comments. I'm rewiring for peace. Not just because it sounds good, but because it is good. Because this time, you're not just thinking on autopilot. You're thinking with intention. You're laying new neural tracks for a future that doesn't depend on someone else's return. You've rehearsed pain long enough. It's time to perform strength. Write it, mean it, live it. I'm rewiring for peace. Stay grounded, stay stoic, stay you. Number 7. Detachment is not forgetting. It's remembering who you are without them. You don't let go by forgetting them. You let go by finally remembering yourself. You've been told that healing means forgetting. That detachment means deleting every trace of them from your mind like they never existed. That you'll only be free once you don't remember the sound of their voice, or the curve of their laugh, or the version of you that came alive when they looked at you like you mattered. But that's not what detachment is. That's not what Stoicism teaches. That's not what healing feels like. Detachment isn't amnesia. It's not about scrubbing every memory clean like it was all fake. Detachment is power. It's the quiet reclaiming of your mind where the thought of them doesn't trigger a spiral, where their name no longer sets your chest on fire, where you don't flinch when a song you once loved together finds its way back into your playlist. It's waking up and realizing you still exist without them, and more than that, you always did. Let's speak honestly. Right now, you might feel like the version of you who loved them, who showed up, who gave, who hoped, is gone. Like they took that version with them when they walked away. And that's why you keep holding on, not to them, but to yourself through them. They became the mirror in which you saw your best reflection. But that reflection, it wasn't theirs to take. It was always you. You just forgot. When we love deeply, we often tether our identity to that love. I am who I am because they saw me. I was my best self when I was with them. They brought me to life. But that is the illusion. That's the chain disguised as closeness, because the truth is, what you felt with them was already within you. They didn't bring it out, they just woke it up. And now that they're gone, the question is no longer, how do I forget them? The question is, how do I remember me? Detachment is not a cold heart. It's not giving up on love. It's not becoming numb. It's becoming wise. It's choosing peace over fantasy. It's choosing truth over potential. It's choosing to rise without needing someone else to witness your wings. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Your pain isn't about them. It's about what they represented. A feeling, a connection, a vision of the future you once held close. But detachment is the moment you stop giving those symbols more power than your own soul. It's the moment you say, I can feel this, but I don't have to be owned by it. Some of you fear detachment because you think it means you never cared, that you're betraying the love by letting go of the pain. But no, detachment is proof that you cared so much. You almost lost yourself, and now you're taking you back. Think of detachment like this. Your heart was a house, and you gave them the keys. They came in, made memories, rearranged the furniture, left their scent on everything. But they're not coming back. And you've been sitting on the couch where they once laughed, staring at the door, waiting for footsteps that will never return. It's time to stand up. Open the windows, clean the space, not to erase the past, but to reclaim the home, your mind, your peace. Detachment is the act of opening the door not to let them back in, but to let yourself out. It's walking outside and realizing the world is still spinning, that the sun still rises, that your laughter still exists, even if it hasn't echoed in a while, that your strength isn't measured by who stays, but by who you become after they leave. And yes, detachment is painful, but it's not punishment, it's purification, it's the stripping away of illusion. It's standing in front of the truth naked and saying, I survived this. It's the moment when the silence you once feared becomes the sanctuary you now protect. You won't forget them, and you don't have to, but you will forget the pain. One day, their name won't sting, their memory won't paralyze. You'll look back, not with longing, but with love, for yourself, for the version of you who gave, who felt, who tried, and who eventually grew. Because detachment is not about forgetting them, it's about remembering who you were before they mattered, and who you are now after they don't. So here's your moment. Right now, in the comments, write this. I remember who I am. Say it like you mean it, not for them, not for closure, for you, for the self you buried under obsession, for the identity you placed in someone else's hands, for the peace that's been waiting quietly behind all the noise. I remember who I am, and if this message struck something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video. Share it with someone who's still stuck in the loop. Subscribe if you're ready to train your mind like a warrior and heal with purpose, not pain. This was never about forgetting them. It was always about finally finding you again. Stay grounded, stay stoic, stay you,